Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Black British Parent Podcast. And today we have Serena Nalty-Coombs, one of our most inspiring, most supportive, because you've helped us with this podcast a great deal, no one knows. Welcome, Serena. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For finally accepting an invitation to be with us.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's an honor and a pleasure. Please let our listeners know who you are and what you do.
That's a big question.
Yes.
So I am a project management consultant, which means I support people in business. I support entrepreneurs, individuals to achieve whatever their goal is. A lot of strategic planning and things like that. I also I do a lot of social entrepreneurship and working with communities and charities.
How did you get into that work?
So I started off in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. So I was a civil servant and I worked in the overseas department where they receive all the diplomats and things. And I just liked the way everything worked and the way they went about stuff. So I just took up lots of their opportunities. They have lots of opportunities in the government where you can train to do different things. So I took on a lot of those opportunities. But my mum would say to you, I've always been really organised since I was young. I used to help my mum with all the bills and stuff like that, planning stuff out, planning meals. Even as young as probably like 7, 8, I used to have this little post office. And I used to every so often be writing to my grandma who lived in America. The grandma in America, auntie in America, and then a couple of people in Jamaica that I used to write to. And I used to do that regularly. And I'd just set everything out and do my letters, my airmail envelopes, and then, trot off to the post office and sort them out. So I've always kind of been that way, like a very organised person. So it just makes sense. And then I didn't stay at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office that long. I then went into housing and community development, but I did set up a project management company and done some work over in Nigeria and different places,
Awesome.
Help people to set up their businesses and stuff, but that's kind of where it came from.
Okay. I jumped straight into how did you get into that, but what I was meant to ask you a question like an icebreaker, although the ice is already broken anyway. But what I've been asking all our guests is, what's their favourite movie of all time?
I don't know about favourite movie of all time. I've got so many.
Top 2 or 3?
All right. So Sweet Charity, I don't know if you know that,
No, I
Shirley
don't.
MacLaine.
No, what is that? Some old school movie?
It's an old school movie. Me and my mum used to watch old school movies all the time.
Like a 1940s film?
Don't think it's 40s. Oh my God, Sammy Davis Jr.'s in it.
I might have seen it.
So yeah, that's one of my ones. My Fair Lady is one of me and my mum's favourite movies. Yeah. And it became kind of... I really love the Transformers and Fast and Furious franchises. But I also like Best Man. Okay. So I've given you like 5 now.
Okay. Yeah. I swear we've had that one already today.
Yeah, Best Man and Best Man's Holiday. Yeah.
Good. That's a nice selection of movies. Okay, I'm gonna have to go and check out the first one, Sammy Davis Jr. I like his movies. What do you love most about what you do?
Helping people, and seeing the end result. So it's really nice to like sit down with somebody and they're saying to you, this is what I want to achieve. And you use the tools that you know will help them to get across to you exactly where they want to be and what they're trying to do. Help them set realistic goals and support them on the way. And then you see it come to fruition. That's like, and some of these things can go on for like years, and some of them are like short, quick wins. But I think that's it. I just really like helping people and then seeing them do what they really love to do.
Awesome. So people often think of project management as a corporate thing. But can parents use project management skills in everyday life?
Absolutely. So when I work with individual clients, it's just whatever it is that works that you need to achieve. So it works in all categories. And I sometimes think to myself, why project management consultancy? Why is it not called coaching, mentoring, whatever? But I think because I work on several things at the same time, that's why it's ended up being project management consultancy.
Fair enough.
But when I work with individuals, like I said, they'll say, look, this is what I have. All right, I'll explain. I have a client and she just needs support every now and again, thinking forward about what she needs for her family. So it's not necessarily a specific project, but every now and again, things come up where she has to explore, and she doesn't have a partner, and it's to do with her children, so she can't really have that conversation with her children and get the support she needs. So she meets with me and we go through what's happening at the moment, what things are worrying you, what do you need help with, and then we sit down and we just map it out for 2 hours. We'll just map things out. Maybe you should go away and do this, I'll send you some information on that, whatever. And she will say to you, I feel like you give me spiritual guidance. And some people just say, working with you is like having therapy. It's that thing where you can download and then I will sift through it and then I'll say, right, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. And people just like to get that clarity.
Yeah. Just thinking of how that applies in terms of the question. You flabbergasted me as always.
But if I align it with parents, then obviously it's like it's taking a holistic look at what's going on for you and what it is you want to be doing, what you need to achieve, and when you need to achieve it by. So it's like, But I think the thing is that when people spend a lot of time thinking about, worrying about, being concerned about, it all is in their head going round and round, and then on top of that you're living every day and life is lifing. So it can get really overwhelming, and the whole point of what I do is to reduce that overwhelm. Is to say to you, it's not, this is not all a terrible thing, and you got this,
of course,
and here you go, let's have a look at trying to do this, that and that over the next how much weeks or months, and see and come back and review.
I like that. I mean, what flabbergasted me was I'm answering the question in theory, but you're actually helping parents do that. That's great. So many parents want to start their own businesses, but feel overwhelmed. What's the best way to take the first step without feeling like it's too much?
I think the key thing, especially in starting business, is to just be really clear about what you want to do. And the second thing we need to do, which a lot of people get wrong, is that realistic timelines. And one of the things I like to do when I work with people is you say what the action is, but every action has probably got about 4 to 8 tasks. And so what happens is people look at the action and they go, this is really, I haven't been able to do anything, it's just too much. But if you break it down into the task, it makes it a little bit easier, and you just address them one at a time. So I think, just being realistic about what's involved and not trying to do too much too soon, because there is always a lot to do when you start a business. And some businesses, they all have different elements, compliance things, they're getting fines, they might not have correct insurance in place, all these things that come up because you didn't just
start from the beginning,
start at the beginning and take it step by step. It's just that thing as I'm already doing it, so this is a business. It's not a business until you actually set it up properly, and then you have to look at the different types of business, because if you are a sole trader, it's not the same as if you're a registered company. How you operate as a sole trader is completely different, and nobody's holding you accountable apart from you filing your self-assessment. So you just got to pay attention to what is, what works for you and what you really want to achieve, and whether you really need it to be, a proper company. Some things don't require that. Like you're probably giving yourself more work than you need to.
So, thank you. So it's a very parent-oriented question again. Cool. Parents are busy. So what are I mean, yeah, we are busy. What are some of the practical steps for managing time effectively, whether it's for business, work, or just juggling life?
Again, the key word is being realistic.
Yeah.
What do you actually do all week? Like, what do you know that is like fixed and doesn't move? And then what are the things that are quite ad hoc and like sometimes they just come into your week without you actually knowing? Like, for me, it might be randomly, I might get a call from school, and can you come in on whatever day? And what I really want to say is, no, I'm really busy.
I'm being busy, but
you know,
it's your child,
it's important. So, so those things that come up ad hoc that you still need to make allowances for. So like tips around that are probably saying things like, where can you allocate like a small bit of time to do the thing that you want to do? Because I'm always saying to people, 15 minutes today is better than nothing yesterday and nothing last week, you know? And the thing is that we need a little bit of time to get into a routine with things. So if you did 15 minutes once a week, you're still doing a bit more than you would have. And not to feel bad that it's not like, oh, I've got to dedicate this big block of time.
Yeah.
If you don't have a big block of time, just use a small bit of time. And the other thing to think about is like, where do you work best? Like, you want to do this new thing, but is it best when your children are playing in the front room and you still got to monitor and oversee them? Or would it be better if it was like one morning you left for work a little bit earlier or dropped the children off a little bit earlier and sat in a coffee shop for 15 minutes and just made some notes about something? Like, it's just about like thinking about where your mind is more open to doing some of those tasks, as opposed to thinking, oh my goodness, okay, my mum took the kids for the weekend, so after I've done the cooking, the cleaning, I'll find a bit of time. It's, you know, like, just try and allocate yourself a little bit of time and
prioritize
then,
it. A little bit. Okay. So like one of the things I would imagine many entrepreneurs, business people, and parents, especially mums, trying to avoid burnout. So like running a business and managing a household can be a lot. So how do you avoid burnout, and what advice do you have for parents trying to balance everything? Is that a tough question?
It's not a tough question, and I think of myself in this because what are the things that I do?
Burnout's not nice though.
No, it's not.
A nice
and you know, like most people, it ends up making them really ill. So, you know, whether that be a flu or something, will just take them, and then they'll just have to sit down for two weeks because you didn't pay attention. So again, it's like it's about being realistic. And is there like on a Sunday evening when you've put the children to bed, can you just take a bit of time for self-care, just to pause and, you know, sit with yourself and not do anything, so that your body can have a little bit of time to recoup. Exercise is always a really good way of ensuring that you're maintaining some sort of healthy balance. Food is really important to avoid burnout, you know, like sustaining your body so that you can, you know, do what you need to do. But just making time for yourself and not feeling guilty about it, because I think the main thing with parents is that they start to feel guilty if they take a bit of time for themselves. They feel like they have to be present at all times, and it's not possible for anybody to be present at all times. That's not a true thing. You know, and you can still be, you know, a very hands-on, productive parent and still say to yourself, I'll take this little bit of time for me. You know, even something like really simple, like walking to bus stops instead of jumping straight on the bus. Like that space, that energy, the breathing, that all of that it's a release. It's like a stress reliever. So you have to find little things that help you relieve stress. And I would advocate self-care all day long, because, you know, we all need it. And so just find a way to incorporate it in your busy week.
What can self-care look like?
Oh, it can be anything that brings you a little bit of joy, brings you a bit of space. I have self-care Sunday, so I will always do something like, maybe it's a face mask, maybe it's wash my hair or something, or just do something simple that allows me an hour or so just to downtime, long bath, glass of wine, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, but it can look like different things. Reading is another one. Just having space to like pick up a novel and start reading a chapter or some book you wanted to get into. Some people like Netflix or whatever it is, like just anything that brings you a little bit of space to just not think about what goes on all the time for you.
Yeah. As you say that, I'm thinking about people with very small children. They might find it difficult to find time, and parents of kind of quite big families. Any suggestions?
So yeah, small children is a big one, but when they sleep, just capturing that little bit of time for yourself. And again, it doesn't have to be a massive slice of time, but just doing something that you like. And people with large families, it's about managing their expectation of how much you're available. Because I know if I'm in my house and everybody's in the house, then my name's going to get called many times, to the point where that's not my name today. Please don't say mum anymore. Yeah. But, they're on me. So I think when, like one of the things I did when my children were started to be able to, started to have like a little bit of independence and they might go to friends or something, I might just do something for an hour just in a quiet place, or go and buy myself a coffee or take myself to lunch or something like that. It can be, it can be something really small that seems to somebody like that's really simple thing to do, but it's not simple when you're a parent and lots of stuff is going on all the time. Just even going to, like a coffee shop and just sitting and drinking the coffee instead of being on the run with the coffee. Because that's what we tend to do all the time. Everything's on the run. Like, it's not a terrible thing if the washing doesn't go in the machine at the exact time it would normally go in the machine today. Like, nothing terrible is going to happen. And I'm sure there are other clothes that they can put on. But, like, it's that thing of like, no, but I have to. No, I need to. Yeah. And I totally understand it because I, like, having,
been through it. Yeah.
Just like, and Sunday used to do all the ironing. Yeah. Not one thing could be left. I just like, because it was easier once it's all in the drawer and folded and stuff like that. And then I got to the point where, excuse me,
too much pressure.
Yeah,
they can do it themselves. Why am I doing
this myself? Like, it just like, sometimes we have to be able to like get to the point where either it's how important is it, will we lose limbs and things if we don't have that, and then also like, can we delegate some of this stuff? So I remember my mum saying to me, like, no, the stuff it cannot go in. She was like me, can't go in the cupboard without being ironed. And then I said, but do you have to do the ironing? And she said, oh no, I don't really need to do the ironing. So can we get an ironing lady? Is that feasible? Could you do that? Even if she only done half of it and then you had the other half, She got an ironing lady. She was like, that's like, and she never thought of it. It's like, it was something she never thought of. Like, so, like, it's just those little things where can you get someone else to take that so you've got a little bit more time?
Yeah. I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm just thinking of all the projects that I know that you've been doing. How do you manage it all yourself?
So I can only explain it as in my brain there are these compartments and things sort of go in them a bit like a filing system. And so when I work my week, things are blocked. So, I might receive a piece of information, project one, the thing goes into that space. It sounds mad, but this is just how I understand my brain to work. And then when I set my schedule for the week, I've blocked. So if a client's booked for a day, that's their day. Then other clients might have half day. Some projects might need just a couple of hours a week. It's all mapped out. And I try to stick to that as much as possible.
And you're able to switch off and switch on to each project?
Yes, most times. But the thing about what happens to me is my clients, they like having access to me. And sometimes that's hard to boundary for them. So I might see the phone ringing and it's not their time and I'm not working on something for them, and I have to go, I can't take that now, because I know if I take that, it's going to take me away from this, and this needs to be done. Otherwise, I'm going to get behind on it. So, I have to keep really firm boundaries. They do slip now and again. I'm not, I'm not perfect, but ultimately I do have to boundary my clients as well. I have to be like, you asked me to do that by that deadline, and now you're asking me to do, you've come back to me within a week of that deadline, asking me to do 3 other things that got nothing to do with that can't work because I'm working on this bit now, and then, oh, no, fair enough, But I think if they could just throw it all at me all the time, they definitely would, and then it's no longer their problem, it's mine, and they told me to do it by this time. So I do kind of have to let them know consultant is the key word here. And I will do things the way that works best for me, and I'm supporting you. I'm not, I work I'm not doing
your work. It's not my business.
So so I think these are the key things, like the boundaries are really, really clear, but in my brain everything's got a section, and it sounds crazy, and I've never heard anyone else talk about it like that.
No.
My friend, she always says to me, compartmentalizing. I never heard anyone else say that word in my life. That's what you do. Yeah, I do. I have to do that. Otherwise I can't manage it all. I think that then I would feel like I'm overwhelmed or...
Yeah, because I think the compartmentalizing usually occurs when people don't want to address or deal with things, but you use it to help you with what you're
it's like a
planning.
Structure for me. Just, if I can make sure that things happen in their blocks of time, and I can put things where they need to go, then that's good. But my schedule is my key, and people that look at my diary, they're like, how do you understand that? Because I've got all my clients' schedules as well, so everything's all colour coordinated so that I know what's what.
I can imagine what that diary looks like.
Yeah, and then I manage maybe about 30 something emails, because I've got to manage project emails as well as my own email accounts. So it is a lot, but I think this is the thing, isn't it? Like, if it's building as you're going, it's not, I'm saying it to you, you're hearing it like as it works now.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was a building thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't always like that.
Yeah. And you look sane and normal and fine and gorgeous.
I don't know. I don't know if I am sane and normal, but I try to be. And if I am really overwhelmed, I do
take the time out when you need to.
I do take time, and I try not to be around people, because then I think I'd be a bit snappy and frustrated very quickly. Yeah.
Fair enough. Because I know I do a lot, but I know you do a lot. So a lot of people have great business ideas, but struggle to bring them to life. So what are the key steps to actually getting started and trying to stay on track?
So as a project manager, I would always advocate for plans, and, just making sure that you've got what you need listed, and some sort of checking in, a way to check in with yourself. That will be different for different tools work well for different people.
And different projects.
Yes. So, and not everybody works the same. And one of the things I always have to decipher, and I spoke about it a little bit earlier, is you need to understand how you work. Mm-hmm. Me and you will not work the same. We'll do things similar, maybe, but we don't work the same. And you have to understand that about yourself. And that's why, as well, who you work with is important. I can't work with everybody that comes to me. When I've done the consultation, I will see whether or not we gel, and they will, they will be easy to work with in terms of they can receive. Some people can't receive. They already believe they've got it down. They ask for help, but they still believe they've got it down. So if you understand you'll be better off. If you can sit with yourself and say, actually, you know what, I'm not the most methodical worker. I don't really work well when I've got when I have to meet deadlines or I have to be really structured. I'm more fluid person. If you can be honest with yourself, that will help you. And then, you know, so the plan then for someone like that wouldn't necessarily be an online chart or a piece of paper. They're just going to work differently. That's just a fact. But maybe something for them would be just like things in their calendar flagging up and saying, have you done blah, blah,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So just having a better understanding of how you work is definitely important. Every individual is different. So I could be saying tools all day long, but it won't. It's going to be what's useful for you, knowing who you are.
Yeah, so know self. Yeah. Okay.
Did that answer it?
Yeah, it did answer the question perfectly. You was bang on the money there. So what are some of the biggest mistakes you see new business owners make, and how can they avoid them?
Yeah, running before they walk. Absolutely. Like, you know, registering a company you don't even know what you're doing yet, or not doing what you're supposed to have been doing, but doing the work and saying, you know, acting like you're compliant. I understand it because you get excited. Mm-hmm. You've found this thing, you know, you're going to be good at it, or it's a good idea, or it's a good concept, or it's a good product, or whatever, and you get excited and you just go, and then next thing you know, there's all this stuff that you should have set up beforehand that's not been done. People need to really think about what the things are that they need to do. And again, everybody works differently. Don't look at Joe over there who did this and is making millions now. You are not Joe. You know, you are you, and there are going to be things. You're going to have different obstacles, different challenges than Joe over there. And Joe also might have staff, and Joe who also might have a family with money who's backing him 100%. We can't compare ourselves to people. We have to deal with what is in front of us. So my thing is always take a holistic view of everything. When you're starting a business, your whole life doesn't go on pause. When I hear people say, oh, you know, when I get to this point, then I can start doing these things. We spoke about self-care earlier. Why are we waiting for you to implement self-care until you've got to somewhere in your business? If you don't implement it now, when you get there in your business, new things are going to come up and it's still going to be on the back burner. Yeah. So, you've got to look at everything. If you don't look at everything before you start, it's going to be a problem.
Hey family, we hope you're enjoying the show. If you want to stay up to date with all things Black British Parent, we've got the perfect way for you to do just that. Join our mailing list and be the first to know about new episodes, exciting news, and upcoming events. It's super easy to sign up. Just head over to our website and into your email. Don't miss out on the latest from Black British Parent. Join our community today. Now, back to the show.
Because, you know, you could start a business, you might be at uni, your children might be ready to transition, secondary school, college, whatever. There are things there will always be things going on. So you need to be really understand what's going on in your life before you even start that process. And then just making sure what you need for your business and the way you're setting up your business, the type of business you're setting up, that you've picked the right model for you.
Yeah. So we would like to assume that we know ourselves, but in instances like this, we might realize we don't really know much about ourselves, or we might learn more about ourselves than we realized. So what are things that you can suggest in terms of assisting one with at least beginning to acknowledge who they are and how they operate within that kind of field? Am I making sense of the question I'm asking?
Yeah, you do. Because even things like how you respond to people.
Yeah.
That's going to be a key thing. You know, if you get an email and the email's worded rudely, are you jumping on that email and being like, look, excuse me, I don't know who you think you're talking to? Or are you going to pause and wait 2 days? Or do you call your brethren and start venting to them until you feel better? And then not respond? Just little things, just like have a think about, you know, like this is the business I'm going into. So say, for instance, you might want to sell soaps and you're going to do that on a market stall. You're going to be dealing with customers all the time. How do you respond to customers? If somebody buys something, uses it and tries to bring it back to you, how you know, like little things like that. Try and think about different scenarios that may happen in the business that you will have to respond to, and then say to yourself, you know what, I know if that happened, this is what I would want to do, but I might do this.
Yeah.
But then there's some people, this is what I would want to do, and that is what I would do. You know, some people wouldn't switch from, like me on a personal level to me as the business owner. They wouldn't do it. And that's another thing to clock about yourself. Like, so then does that mean you need to be a front-facing member of the team?
Or have someone else front face?
Or do you want to, and like things like when we was talking about the email, like, does that mean that you shouldn't be the person responding to email? Could you get someone else to check your emails for you or respond on your behalf? So there are ways for you to kind of check
self-analyze.
How you might respond in different scenarios and with different things.
That's great, thank you. So money management, this is about financial planning for entrepreneurs, is a big challenge. Money management is a big challenge for small business owners. What are some of the key financial habits every entrepreneur should develop?
So obviously, separate bank account. Never run your business through your personal bank account. That is a complete no. Have a separate bank account. Make a note of all transactions. Sometimes you might forget to use the card from your business account. You might then use cash, or you may have done it on your personal, but it needs to be in your business, and some way of like maybe paying it back into the business and detailing that. Keeping accurate records, that's really important. Understanding your tax liabilities, those kind of things, very important. Just really staying on top. So if you have to think about, will it be too much for me if I only done this once a month or once every quarter? Or if I waited until it was time to file, do I need to be checking this daily or weekly instead? They are probably the key things around finance. If you invest personally to your business, to set a boundary on that, because you can keep feeding it and feeding it and feeding it, and
it's going to put
and then it ends up being
a money drainer.
Drainer. That's a liability to you because your business may never ever pay you back, and then then that's a loss. It's not a loss that you can recoup. So if you're going to invest in your business, maybe you're saying to yourself, I will invest X per year. That will be my maximum. If this doesn't work out, this is what I will do. Because you should always have your backup plan in anything. Because you can go on for a long time saying you're in business and it's not really
business,
working.
You're just spending money.
There you go. Or it's more hobby-like. And so, you get some sales here and there, but
it's not really sustainable.
Exactly. So I think they'd be probably my top few around finance.
That was a great list, I think. A list I wish I knew when I first started many years ago. That was before doing any of this. So so a lot of people hesitate to step into the business world because of fear of imposter syndrome. How can parents push through these doubts and just go for it?
The truth is, I don't really know anyone who hasn't had imposter syndrome. We all have it because we all have things that we are not so confident about in ourselves. And the thing about business is that you can set one up, but it doesn't always have to be you that pushes everything forward. I am the worst advocate for Serena Nalty-Coombs and SN management. I do not like promoting and doing all of that stuff. And thankfully, a lot of my work has come by referral. But again, this thing of like having a look at who you are and how you like to work and what the things are that you would prefer to do in your business and who might be able to come and support in another way. I think face the fear anyway, but find a way for it to be a little bit more comfortable for you. So like, I really don't like doing interviews like this, but I know something I might say might help at least one person. So let me not get too fixated on, I don't really want to sit here, I don't want my face getting anywhere, I don't want to be on social media. Let me think about what's the outcome. And I think most parents, when they're starting business, is to build a legacy. And if you want to build a legacy for your children, you are going to, and you do it anyway. You don't realize, like there are things that you have been doing while your children have been growing that you never ever expected to do. Like even things down to attending different things at school, maybe having to advocate for your child, making sure your child has what they need when they need it. Asking the right people for the right information about things. All of that. You do things and you would do it without even thinking because it's your child. So if you're now doing this to create a legacy for your child, use some of that to push you to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And just give yourself grace. Like, we are not perfect. You do not need to have everything down. You will make mistakes. And sometimes what you think is something that is very apparent to someone else, they don't even know about until it comes out your mouth.
Yeah.
So I did a workshop the other day, and a young lady, she said, I'm just blah, blah, blah. I'm only blah, blah, blah. Please, you are. So it's I am. There's no only, there's no just. Nobody here knows what you're just and only in about. Just say, I am so-and-so, I do this. You don't have to add in the things, because now we know that you've got a bit of doubt in yourself, that you feel like maybe you shouldn't be here.
The confidence ain't quite as confident.
But, sometimes it's that thing, that shift in how you say things, that shift in your mindset. You are supposed to be in the room. If this is what you're bringing to the table and you know that it will make a difference, then you are supposed to be in the room. And it doesn't matter what the other people on the other side think. If you know you're supposed to be there, then you need to go there and do that thing, because no one else is going to know about it until you do. So I think it's easy for me to say, but trust me, it's not easy for me to do. But stand in your truth, because that business idea that you came up with, that concept, that product, whatever, you knew there's a reason why you wanted to take it there. And so, believe. If you don't believe in you, who else is going to believe in you? Because until you can stand up in that, but show up in the room like you're supposed to be there, because you are. We probably need what it is you're selling.
Yeah, I think many of us can appreciate that, because like you said, whilst you're saying it, obviously you're saying it to yourself, and that's something that often comes out, is that the idea of that imposter syndrome that we all go through, like you were saying. I felt like you were directly talking to me at one point. Do you get what I mean? So I'm sure we all can relate to that. Looking back at your own career, we're talking about your biggest lessons. What's one business or life lesson that stuck with you and changed how you approach things?
Now that's a question. Oh no, that's a difficult one.
I got you there. Yeah.
I feel like I suppose even in the last question, just showing up because you what you have is something good. I think that's probably one lesson that I really learned. Because working for other people they could always find some reason or other why you weren't qualified enough to go up to the next level, weren't good
Glass
enough
ceiling.
to do,
Yeah.
And I think when I got sure about who I was and why I did the things I did the way I did, then I could, I knew that I didn't have to sit in those spaces anymore.
Yeah.
So when I decided to give up working for any organisation and just doing this 100%, I could see the portfolio of what I'd done before, and I could look back and go, well, actually, these people don't even know that you do this. And I remember some director saying to me that I'm aloof and I don't, and something or other, I don't have any ambition and blah, blah,
Aloof
blah.
and
Aloof.
Aloof. Oh, aloof.
Like
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
like,
just,
nonchalant about everything, and that I don't have any ambition. And I said, oh, okay then.
Wow.
Thanks for that. I challenged it, and he subsequently cancelled 3 meetings where he was supposed to meet with me to discuss it. So that shows what that was about. But ultimately, I just said, you don't, like, my reason for being here and your reason for being here are 2 different things. Like, I know I work part-time so I can homeschool my daughter, so that I can be around for my children. But look at this. I manage 6 boroughs, and there's a lady that sits next to me, works full-time, and she only does 1, and she's got, like, significantly less properties and clients to deal with. So, let's...
Talk about that.
Let's just like have a look at that. And then I said, and if you, and if you really wanted to know a bit more about me, maybe you should have typed my name into Google. I don't know.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Because like it just got to the point where I was like, who are you to say to me that I don't have any ambition? No, I don't have any ambition for your organisation,
to be fair.
but I have some ambition for
myself,
me, my family, and where I want to go in life. And so, that was that. And the thing is, I probably didn't have much on Google then, because I don't do, like, not my stuff isn't Googleable.
But the bit that you had would have been enough, though.
So he would have seen that outside of that, I was a producer on a series. He would have seen the work I'd done overseas. He would have been able to see something about me. But I just thought, you're just rude. You're just really rude, and you're just trying to.
She says not much work overseas in this series, and you see what I'm saying.
But
anyway.
like just trying to belittle me. So I think that's when I kind of started standing in my own and knowing, like. And another thing that happened to me is a lady headhunted me. She met me through the work I was doing with the organisation, but she said, you know what, I can see the potential in you as you ask all the right questions, like, this can't be all that you do. And I was like, no, actually, I do. I have my own little consultancy and da-da-da-da-da. And then I went on to work with her for about 5 or 6 years. But yeah, so like, I think those little things where I addressed stuff where somebody was saying to me, you're not all that. And I knew I was more than that. And it's not even I don't like saying it, because then I feel like I'm being arrogant, but I'm not being arrogant. I'm just saying there comes a point where you know this isn't the space that I'm supposed to be in, and I need to take some action and get out of it. And so I had my meeting with him, said what I had to say, and then resigned promptly after that. But it had to go that way, because like I couldn't have stayed there, because I think that would have really, that would have grated on me. That would have affected me quite a lot.
That's why it needed to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And he probably was intimidated by you, and he's probably projected onto you. Yeah. You had nothing to do with you.
I did say to him, like, without us doing this work, you have no KPIs to report. So really you shouldn't, if I decided to go off sick for 6 months, what would you report back on? We're the ones that give you the information that you take to the directors meeting, so that you can, get your props, and then you want to treat people like that. That's not on, because without us, there is no you.
Yeah, and it makes sense, that experience, in terms of my experience of how you operate and how you work. Yeah, very considerate and very mindful, and I appreciate it all the way. So we're drawing to the end of the episode. Wasn't that bad, was it,
No,
Serena?
it wasn't terrible.
It was, he was flowing.
It wasn't terrible. I might see it and go, oh my days.
Oh my gosh, don't do that. No, you're sitting, you'll love it, you'll love it. So, my last question, what's your message for our listeners, Black British Parent?
I think always be true to yourself. Whatever you're doing, your children see, they're watching you, they're paying attention, and, you know, and even with the mistakes, they will learn from you, and you will be an inspiration for them if you keep going and you push for the things that you really want to do. It teaches them all the things that they need to know: boundaries, having, you know, being ambitious, having aspirations, all of that. So be you, and push to be you at all times. Don't let anybody like dull your light, because, you know, they need you.
Thank you so much, Serena. I'm so honoured you finally came. Yay! Please let our listeners know how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, okay. So I do have Instagram at SN Management _. So at SN Management _. You see, I pay so much attention to it that I know what it is. I'm usually better on email, so serena@snmanagement.co.uk. And worst case scenario, they could tap you and you could introduce them to me.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not that visible, but I am here, as you could see.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Serena. Again, thank you so much, guys. I hope you gained a lot from this podcast. I think there were so many gems dropped. Again, we've been having some heavy, hard hitters recently, so much appreciated. And they're all women as well. Yay. And black women, beautiful black women. But guys, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, please take care.